Hey everyone, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and it's time for another year-end countdown. This is one that I've actually never done before in the past, which is why you guys should be excited about it. It's been heavily requested, but I've actually never talked about the best of and the worst of album artwork in a specific year. That's right, ladies and gents, not only will I be counting down my top 10 best album covers of the year, with no honorable mentions there just because I barely had enough for an actual top 10, but I will also be in detail going through and talking about my worst album covers. We're gonna go ahead and get right into it, and we'll start off light with my top 10 favorite album covers for the year, and then after that we'll discuss and break down the top 10 worst of the year with some dishonorable mentions. I hope you enjoy the video. Please drop a like on it if you do, and let's get started. By the way, the quality of the music itself has absolutely nothing to do with the placement of these album covers on the list. The mysterious genre of vaporwave seems to have been a big influence on the album artwork for Love Is Dead by the synthpop trio Churches. And while I wasn't exactly head over heels for the album, I thought the artwork was actually pretty gorgeous. I know that fans were kind of divided on it, some people mocked it, but I absolutely feel it suits the colors that come out in this record. It's a colorful album to say the least, in the sense that there's musical expression, and I feel like this is a great representation. I love the fact that Lauren Mayberry, the lead singer, is pictured here, and she's wearing the Love Is Dead necklace, and then has the black heart with the blue X that's going through it. And the colors here and the placement of Churches over the eyes, I just thought it was all really appealing, and it fit the music that was on Love Is Dead. An homage to the campiness of 80s slasher flicks of yesteryear, this is an amazing album cover landing at number 9 by Ice Nine Kills. The Silver Scream was the name of the record, and on the album cover you can see a knife with a face on it that obviously looks like the Silver Scream. We've got the silver plated knife, and then we've got it going out into the audience who are all cheering. Obviously, it's like 3D breaking through the silver screen, which is what the Silver Scream is a play on words for. I don't know why I felt the need to explain that to you, but just in case you didn't get it. P.S. The inclusion of the rating system at the bottom, like normally it would be like R, NC-17, PG-13, whatever. They have IX, and then it says Psychos Only. A very nice touch. Hold up, I forgot to tell you guys about Wohome, the sponsor of today's video. Wohome have an incredible lineup of products, but today I'm here to tell you about their Bluetooth soundbar that is a must-have for music fans. The S9920 soundbar is a 40-inch 2-channel soundbar with exceptional quality for an affordable price. This model has tons of cool features, including a Bluetooth mode that's perfect for listening to and truly experiencing music. I know most of you watching love music as much as I do, and this soundbar features a crisp, clean sound that offers several different ways for you to connect to your tunes. Bluetooth is of course one easy option, but you can also connect via USB, aux cord, or RCA inputs, which means you can hook up pretty much any device to the S9920. Christmas and the holidays are here, and this makes for a great gift for the music lover in your life, including you. That's right, I know somebody in your family gave you an Amazon gift card that's just burning a hole in your pocket and you have to spend, so why not actually buy something that you'll use for years to come, and something that's received hundreds of positive reviews. Thanks again to Wohome for sponsoring today's video. You guys know I've been dealing with a lot of false copyright claims on both of my channels, so if you're in the market for a new soundbar, this one comes highly recommended from me, and it's a great way to listen to music, movies, and TV. Grab one at the top link down below. Simple but effective. At number 8, we have the album cover for the debut album by the all-female band The Aces, When My Heart Felt Volcanic. It's clear that they were inspired by the film Heathers that came out in the late 1980s, and just having watched that film for the first time this year myself, I can honestly get behind big time the inspiration that they had for not only the music video, but also kind of the album cover. I understand that this is separate from the video and they're not wearing the same clothing, but I like the fact that it shows them all with a little bit of a lean, and it shows the attitude that this record kind of presents. It's simple, like I said, you just see a blue sky and some shrubbery, some bushes, and a house in the background, but the color scheme here, the colors that they're all wearing, matched together with the background, it's just really, really pleasing. I don't know that we'll ever fully comprehend the amount of work that Alex Turner, frontman of the English rock band Arctic Monkeys, poured into my number 7 selection, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. This is an album cover that was initially inspired by a tape recorder that he was using in real life, some cardboard cutouts, the moon, the space station, the Tranquility Base, of course, being inspiration there. We saw themes of the moon on this album, the Ultra Cheese, for example, alluding to the fact that many people used to think that the moon was made of cheese. Or is it? Maybe it is. Pushing my cheese addictions to the side, Alex Turner's actually chimed in saying that he had lost sleep over this for months on end, talking about him tinkering with it, and Turner himself obviously admitted to the fact that he was kind of obsessed at some point over making this thing a reality. And he brought it to life, and all of his tinkering came to a fruition, I would say, because we got a very cool album cover in the form of Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. We see the final product sitting on top of the tape machine, and just at first glance, you might think, oh, this is nothing. But then you start to realize that it's a hexagon. It's their 6th album, 6 sides, a tape recorder, and the Tranquility Base sitting on top of it. It's actually very, very cool. Rapper Vince Staples makes the list at number 6 with his Green Day Dookie-inspired FM album cover. The album art here is definitely very 90s leaning, and if you've ever seen the iconic artwork for Dookie by Green Day, you'll know exactly what inspired this. FM takes its inspiration and then brings it to LA as we see a police chopper flying over the wave. FM is coming in a big way, kind of like Dookie did in the blast that looked like it was being dropped down, and we see everybody on the beach, all of the different types of people, and it's nice to see everything just looking kind of bright and fun. And as many people have commented, it's nice to see some album art that doesn't take itself too seriously, is not trying to be overtly edgy, and it helps that the music within is actually pretty good. If this was a thumbnail for a YouTube video, the title would be Trying to Smoke 20 Cigarettes at Once Challenge, parentheses, gone wrong. Except here, it went totally right, as my number 5 selection, Caroline Rose, lands with her album Loner. This is a record that definitely encapsulates much of depression, loneliness, feeling out of touch with friends and maybe other relationships in your life. Loner is definitely something that I relate to, and seeing the album art here, along with Caroline's whole jogger mom aesthetic that she has going on here, it definitely fits the mood of the music. It's not that an album cover always has to fit, but I just think this caught my eye, and I saw this, a friend recommended her music to me, and I had heard about her in the past, and I saw the album artwork, and I was like, well damn, that just looks sad, and it also looks like, it's another one of those days. And the music definitely holds up to that standard as well. And the album cover, it's just too like depressing, but also so nonchalant to not love. When album covers go literal. Landing at number 4, we have the young band Bearings that are certainly budding with talent, and their album art for Blue in the Dark. On this one, we see a starry sky. The moon is up there, obviously, and the waves, and obviously the moon controls the tide, and we see the wave rolling in, but there's a hand stretching out. And it's almost, to me, a representation of hope, and it obviously looks very pretty. You see the design here. There was obviously a lot of thought that went into it, but I love the fact that it does seem like there's a glimmer of hope. Maybe you were just out there drowning in the sea of life, so to speak, or maybe you actually just can't swim. Either way, the way I see it is that there's this hope that's sticking out and saying, you know what, hold on despite these hard times you're going through. Number 3, Astroworld by rapper Travis Scott. This was the name of a theme park, Astroworld that is, that Travis Park frequented when he was a child. It closed down for good in the mid-2000s, and that obviously was much to his chagrin. He didn't take kindly to that, and was so inspired by that theme park that he decided to name his album after it. I love the album cover here because not only do we get the kids jumping, the popcorn, the signs and everything like that, we get the big golden Travis Scott head that was actually based on a real picture of him. The open mouth shows a family about to walk in, like perhaps it's like the Tunnel of Love or another ride at the theme park, a big attraction so to speak, and this was a big bombastic release. Simplistic Beauty charms its way into number 2, as I've selected Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves. The country music artist released a fantastic album this year with Golden Hour, and it was in fact my album of the year. The album cover here actually does seem rather simplistic, but if you look at it, you see all of the little details. The blue sky in the background representing someone's true golden hour. There's flares of the sun, and obviously she's holding up a fan, probably of some sort of oriental descent, and this is something that she's holding up to kind of shield part of her face here, but I love the way that it just looks. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it's one of those images that you just see, and you're like, that perfectly sums up the album better than I ever could with even my own 10-minute review. You're either gonna love or hate this one, but either way, this is my number 1 selection for the best album cover of 2018. The fact that it's so overblown, so over the top, so ridiculous yet still well designed is what makes Muse's Simulation album cover just amazing to me. Many of you are probably already thinking, didn't you not like this album? And I have to reiterate the point that the quality of the music that lies within these records is not what makes them eligible for this list. Just an album cover can be great in and of itself. I might hate every song on it and could still say this was the best album cover of blank year. And that's not the case here. This wasn't the best album or the worst album of the year, but still, Simulation Theory actually had a lot to offer. Now you're gonna see here in a little bit that there's an album cover that made my list for worst of the year that looks like it was kinda inspired by similar things as to what Simulation Theory was inspired by, but there's a big difference for me. The fact that this one actually is still well designed. I love the Nintendo Power Glove that I believe Matt Bellamy is wearing, and also the glasses that are so characteristic of him. The fact that everything looks like a cross between an alien invasion film, the Terminator, 80s synthwave, everything like that. There's a grid at the bottom, and even the font used for Simulation Theory. It's all well done. And once we get to that other album cover on the worst list, I'll explain more of my counterpoints against that one and why this one actually works so well. That concludes part 1 of the video, so now we can move on to the worst of 2018 when it comes to album covers. But first, I want to roll some dishonorable mentions at a slideshow. It's obviously all up to personal taste whether you actually like these album covers or not, but I look to them and I just see like trying way too hard, minimalism, other stupid designs that just feel like they were rushed out there in a kind of clickbaity type of way, trying to grab people's attention because they know the music's no good. Whatever, let's get into the worst list. Here's number 10. Not only does my number 10 selection rip off the 1975 as so many other bands are doing, but it's also very poorly photoshopped. Dating a graphic designer myself, I had this album cover brought to my attention, and as my girlfriend kind of said, this looks so bad, it's so obvious that this is photoshopped. I'm really not sure why they selected this to be their album cover. As you can see at the top right, you've got some vines kind of growing over the wall, and then you've got a cord that is obviously put in there, and you've got Hard Feelings, and it's all lit up. I'm not doubting that the cord is real, but the fact that that cord is supposedly running to a neon sign, I don't think so. It's pretty much a guarantee now that if Five Finger Death Punch are putting out a new album, their album art is gonna land on the worst of the year list if somebody's making one. Now obviously I am making one for 2018, and both iterations, both the standard and the deluxe editions of Five Finger Death Punch's album are landing here collectively on the list. Now the standard edition of this shows a Trump-like figure, I guess, which I'm not exactly sure which way Five Finger Death Punch lean, but I definitely think I know which way their fan base leans. You can see them pushing the button to launch these rockets, and then there's like some news things flashing in the bottom left corner, and it says, "And justice for none." Because what? Five Finger Death Punch are about to hit us with some social and political commentary? No. It's more angsty butt rock Monster Energy chugging shit, and it has their skull guy on the front. And on the deluxe edition cover, we have an album art that was pretty much stolen once again. And didn't they have this controversy in the past? Number 8. Brockhampton Iridescence. For whatever reason, the world's most hard-working boy band in existence right now, the rap and singing collective Brockhampton, decided to put Santa Claus, or let's say pregnant woman, on the cover of their album. But not only did they do that, I can't tell which one it is due to the fact that they made it obviously with those colors that are inverted, or infrared I suppose, making me feel like I'm about to shoot one of those things from Resident Evil 4. I can't find all of the locations, how am I gonna get it? It's gonna kill me, There's a target placed on this person, and there's a color spectrum going down the side, and there's really nothing else here. Just look at it. It's not good, and neither were their merch drops. Minimalistic trash at its finest. At number 7, we have the rock band Shinedown with their latest album, Attention Attention. I can only imagine how the discussions for this one went. They were probably like, what can we do to visually represent like what we're going for with their new album? It's called Attention Attention. And then like one of the guitarists shouts out like, hey, what if we just like put a big black exclamation mark on a yellow background, like it looks like one of those bathrobe signs that says wet floor? Wouldn't that be like so sick? And they're like, holy shit, dude, you just had the best idea ever. Let's not even write our name or the album title or any kind of design whatsoever. Let's just grab a faded exclamation point and put it on a yellow background. Rapper Quavo graces us with his presence at number 6 with his album art for Quavo Huncho. This comes out and shows us a bat for the man's head, glasses made out of wood branches on trees, and then we've got other branches and various other things of nature making up the shape of his head. We see the clouds in the background not missing embroidering the Young Rich Nation right there on his tattoo, and I have to say, is Quavo trying to tell us something like he loves the national parks, like save our environment, or is he just stupid and thought that this looked cool one night? In fact, the only acceptable version that I think exists of this album art is the Anthony Fantano meme version, which obviously should haunt you in your sleep. I still see your shadows in my room. Cringing our way into the number 5 selection, we have the rock band Daughtry and their album art for the comeback album Cage to Rattle. I see here on the album cover either a cross between the Matrix Code, which is falling, which is now in like purple and blue for some reason, and a caged heart, which is supposed to be like a rib cage perhaps, but they just cut it out to show the heart part. And I'm trying to think, what does that have to do with anything that I heard here? Because despite there being a song called Backbone, I don't know if I've heard too many albums in 2018 that had less of it. Thankfully, outside of a small devoted fan base, Daughtry is virtually irrelevant at this point, so now that I've brought this album cover to your attention, you can forget it just as quickly. Does anyone remember about 5 years back when the band 30 Seconds to Mars dropped their album cover for Love, Lust, Faith, and Dreams? And it was kind of derided for just being a little bit tacky, a little bit out there. The colored dots pretty much just covered it from top to bottom, and it really didn't seem to serve a purpose. Well, the 1975 looked at that and said, you know what? We can one-up it. We gotta be edgy and minimalistic, so here we've rolled out a couple of dots on an album cover of different colors, and then we've written the track list sideways so it's not easily accessible to say the 1975, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships, and then all of the tracks that appear. It looks like it was an initial draft, like a rough draft that you would never turn in, and it's like, okay, you know, your professor comes around and they're like, you got a good start there, but it's like, it's probably gonna take a few more days of work at least. And they were like, you know what? I could keep working on this rough draft, or I could actually go make the music itself, which was actually good on the album. But the problem here, for me at least, is that the album cover is just so fucking boring. I look at this and I look at a blank wall and there's barely a difference. I really enjoyed the approach that they took for the self-titled album, and I like it when you sleep with the neon signs. Everything looked very cool, very aesthetically pleasing, but here it just took a nosedive off of a cliff into minimalistic bullshit. How much do I really need to say about my number 3 selection? 6ix9ine, Dummy Boy. It just made the cutoff. It came out November 27th officially, and it is absolutely one of the worst album covers of the year. What the hell is going on with 6ix9ine and his obsession with cartoons? Not only has he been convicted of a crime with a minor, but it seems like he's kind of obsessed with these cartoony things as well, something that children like. And here, he's seen not only just pictured in child form, but he is pissing rainbows onto a checkered colored floor. Go ahead, Tekashi 6ix9ine, keep smiling like you are on the album cover here. Too bad you're behind bars now at this point, and the only time that you'll be pissing rainbows will be in front of your cellmate. I hate to do it to him, but I gotta do it to him because it is terrible. It is horrible Photoshop. It is the album Cinematic, landing at number 2 by Owl City. This album cover actually looks like a fucking disaster. It is all over the place, and it's Adam Young, who is a likable enough guy. I want to put it out there. I do not dislike him as a person, but his decisions over the past 5 years. What is going on upstairs? Whoever signed off on this album artwork as being an appropriate representation, it's so literal. It's so on the nose. It's like people who need every joke explained to them. It's like, okay, there's X amount of songs on here, and I need to show a visual representation of every single one of those. So here we get Adam Young, obviously in the background, film reels because it's called Cinematic, in case you didn't get it already, you know, cinemas, movies, everything like that. And then you get a flaming car, another car, a watch piece, a light shining up into the sky, an old version of Adam, a dirt bike, an old house, a car, a bird, all of these other things, and it's just a clusterfuck of horrible. None of them look good. Obviously, it doesn't flow together in any way, and I get that these are the themes that are explored, but like I said, my god, if you need it represented visually that bad, make a fucking music video. America, America, Jared Leto, shine your light on me. Hey, 30 Seconds to Mars, when did you guys start making top 6 lists? I mean, I've got the top 10, so many other people do, and I've got 7 on Sunday, so what, you're just gonna one-up me with the minimalism and go top 6, make it even more condensed and small, and put all of this shit on your multiple versions of the album cover? I don't even know how many official versions actually exist, so at number 1, I've just gotta give it to all of them. If it was going for the style of being feeble and divided, then I can absolutely see why they decided on making this album and all of these album covers. They obviously allowed fans to make their versions, so I made my own along with a couple of others, and I put it in the thumbnail for my video review that I did of America. It's not only one of the worst albums of the year, it's one of the worst album covers collectively that I've ever seen. Down the side we have 30 Seconds to Mars and their little cross triangle Illuminati bullshit that they're trying to incorporate like they're some sort of big deal, but they're not at all. This album really wasn't very successful. And even though they had these big clickbaity images and allowed users to generate their own, it seemed like they were only being made into memes and nobody was really taking them seriously, which I absolutely loved. The first version and the biggest version I've seen is the version that has 6 names on it: Kylie, Elvis, Kanye, Jesus, LeBron, and Oprah. Obviously 6 huge names in the United States that most people would recognize, and I'm not sure if this is like a list of aspirations that Jared Leto personally has, people he wants to become, people's harnesses and souls that he wants to steal, but I definitely see that he's already gotten the Jesus vibe down pat. They go on to cover the top 6 American things as reported by GQ, which includes Abe Lincoln's beard, pickup trucks, fireworks, spring break football, and trans fat. Which, okay, what purpose does this serve being on your album cover? I get that they're trying to cover America and the fact that, oh, this is our country and these are representations of our country. But the fact is, on the album, where are these discussions? There's like nothing to be had. In fact, the lyrics aren't even there a lot of the time. They just trade it out in favor of like weak electronic drops. AI, Bitcoin, fake news, Russia, 4 hot topics in America. Wow, can't wait to see this age terribly. Cowgirl, Doggy, Face, 69, Scissors, and the Crab. 6 popular sex positions as reported by Ask Men. Oh boy, we got the edgy one here, and for some reason, the iTunes and Apple Music artwork, which, why, out of all of them, would you pick the sex positions one? That's just not necessary. Any way you frame it, this easily takes the cake. America is the worst album cover of 2018. So 30 Seconds to Mars, congratulations on not only a shit-ass album, but also a terrible album cover. That's it. That's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in to my best and worst album covers of 2018. Let me know your thoughts on my list in the comment section down below, and feel free to comment your own list there as well. Drop a like on this video to show support for the year-end content, and subscribe to the channel if you're new in town. If you're able to, then please pick up some merch or consider donating on Patreon to help videos like this keep coming. Thanks again to Wohome for sponsoring this video. If you would like to pick up a soundbar for yourself or for somebody else this Christmas season, then visit the top link down below and use my coupon code for 10% off. You can catch up on all of my year-end content right here at this convenient playlist, or tap right over here for another recent video on the channel. Socials in the description, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.